afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Sports Corner with the Conn Man on the Sports Wave Network. I am your host, the Conn Man. And with me, I have a very special guest. He goes by the name of Gene Smith. How you doing, my brother?
I'm doing good, sir. How are you?
I'm doing well now that you're on my show. I've been trying to get you on for a little bit. But, folks, Gene Smith was the captain of the 1983-84 Georgetown Warriors. And before we take a step back, can you let the viewers know exactly what you're doing now?
I appreciate that, Con Man. Currently, I'm residing in LA. I started a podcast called Hoya Locker Room, which is about my my alumnus, my prestigious university. So I spend time doing that. I'm a consultant in the footwear and apparel business. Name of my company is Brand I Am. I'm enjoying the fruits of my labor. I have a 4-year-old, so that's the primary goal. Is
Mm-hmm.
raising. But yeah, Con Man. I mean, right now I'm in the give back mode as it relates to my university. When I say give back mode, it's every day. So every day I'm committed to contributing to the school in any way possible. So I'm active, and then on the professional tip, any consulting I can do with footwear and apparel brands, I'm busy doing that.
We're going to get into that in a few. But now, Gene, now that I got you here, if I asked you, I said, Captain, if I wanted you to reflect on the great career you had at Georgetown, what would you say?
If you ask me to reflect on the career I had at Georgetown,
Mm-hmm.
uh, I would say I would fast forward and try to think about it in today's terms, because I think in today's game I probably would be a walk on, just with the NIL portal and the way things are being done. But I would see so many opportunities, and I would be in an opportunistic mode, and I would figure out a way, obviously, to get on the court, because once you get on the court, all the opportunities come to you off the court. But yeah, I would see myself as a walk on and taking advantage of NIL, and then making it so that I would get a full time scholarship, because I think with NIL the concentration is on the top two, the top three, and I would find a way to collaborate with those top two and top three because I'm in the gym with them every day. So I would be an entrepreneur. I would think I'd be in ideation mode. How can I tell this story, right? And get opportunities to collaborate with brands, collaborate with artists, collaborate with music. So I would be in a social media mind frame. And I don't think the guy from 6 through 12 understands the opportunities that they have to benefit, just like the guys from 5 to 1 or 6 to 1. I don't know if that to your listening public, your viewing, but again, I don't think because the NIL is still in test mode right now. They haven't figured out which way it's going to go because they're no longer student athletes. You're making that kind of money. So I think once it's really figured out, during this gray area, it's time to experiment. It's time to be proactive versus just getting online or using your social media to show what kind of gear you're wearing or what kind of music you should be reaching out to brands in the start local and then go national.
I hear you. Now, Gene, I'm going to hit you another one. You mentioned the NIL, which I was going to bring up later on. For folks that don't know, it's name, image, and likeness. And it caused kind of a ruckus in the NCAA world. Now, I want you to take it to me from the player's point of view and then from the coach's point of view. Because you are well aware that we just lost a coach who up and retired off the bat, Tony Bennett from Virginia. And there was talk about Coach Cooley might be going there, but I know he's not. But can you bring that point up from a player's perspective and from a coaching perspective?
And start with the player's perspective because I kind of touched on it. Again, I don't think the student athlete, as we call them today, is well versed in being proactive, being well versed, considering yourself a brand, right? And when you consider yourself a brand, you should be looking to collaborate. So I think these guys are still in waiting to be reached out to, because when you're an athlete, that's kind of your mindset. You know,
Mhm.
particularly you're one of the best at what you do. You usually sit back and wait for people to come to you.
Right.
Well, I these guys now to be reaching out to people, sharing your interests, right? Sharing, things that matter to you, whether it be
Mhm.
on the social agenda, social platform, or whether it be on a political platform. Obviously you want to be conscientious, but I think social issues, whether it be the environment, right? I think here and now lies an opportunity for you to reach out to the public and companies and let them know how we can rock and roll together. So again, I don't think that the student athlete, the player, has fully comprehended that yet, because if people are waving money at you, you kind of sit back and you listen. Well, I'm saying go get that money, go get that bag. Don't, because again, if I'm a walk on, my opportunities are going to be less, so I got to be hungry. So I kind of alluded to how I would see myself in today's game. I would see myself as that walk on, but I would be canvassing, my local terrain, reaching out to, whether it be a athletic company, whether it be a fitness company, whether it be a bag company, anything that I would be interested in. I would research and come up with a way to reach out, a way to find opportunities. Because again, I can make loot now. So my deal is be as hungry as you are on the court, and take that same mentality and apply it off the court.
Awesome.
From a coach's standpoint, I think we've already seen handwritings that the coaches are having a tough time.
Hmm.
Um, Even before Tony Bennett resigned, we had in football, I think it was Lou Saban. He stepped. You've heard, because coaches no longer have all the control. Right? Before, a player had to run pretty much everything through you. Yeah, you might have had your entourage, you had your own camp, but everything still kind of went through the coach. Now that's no longer the case. Particularly when I played in the '80s. I mean, you couldn't even think about doing anything as it relates to your playing career without going through the coach. Now you had situations where guys were leaving school early, so they had agents. Their entourage might have been a little bit more prolific. But now coaches are having a tough time because they're not the end all be all. I think someone like Coach Thompson, and I can speak to that, if he's on record as saying he never thought players should be paid, and because he controlled everything. And if you're not controlling everything as it relates to your players, then you kind of you have to defer. There's somebody else in your player's ear, um, and the player's more involved in the decision making. So I think the challenge is tougher for coaches now. I think this is just the beginning. I mean, I listened to the UConn's coach, Gino, and he blasts every time he can. He blasts the NIL, and he's basically saying let's call it something different. Let's not call them student athletes, because again, the coach is less involved in a lot of decisions in the player's future.
Now, just hold on one second. Let me go out and come back. Something on my end. Hold on,
Okay.
please. Hold on.
Yep. Well, I know you have the ability to edit.
Gene, sometimes technical difficulties occur, but I want the people, the viewers, to get a good idea and get some knowledge of what you're preaching.
Okay.
So what I was trying to say was, you mentioned about, players trying to build their own brand. Now, what do you think about the transfer portal and how it affects the players?
Yeah. It doesn't matter what you think about it. It's how are you going to get down? How are you going to get busy? How are you going to benefit? What are the pros? What are the cons? And again, if you can play, you have multiple opportunities to play different places. I think some of the decision making, whether to stay, whether to go,
Mm-hmm.
can be, it's like it's the pasture's not always green on the other side.
Exactly.
You
Mm-hmm.
know, so how are you making your decisions? What are your decisions based on? If your decisions, and again, it appears and it seems pretty simple. Can I go someplace else and play more, right? And I think you got to ask yourself, well, if I'm at a university where my opportunities are bigger and better post basketball, I got to evaluate myself, because
Mm-hmm.
obviously, if you're a top tier guy, your goal is to play in the NBA. Your goal is to be a professional basketball player.
Right.
Well, I think you also have to look at, well, if I'm at Georgetown, can I go from Georgetown to Stanford? Well, if I'm at Stanford, do I want to go from Stanford to someplace else?
Mm-hmm.
I just think there should be more going into the decision making, just this where I can play at, where I can get the most time. Because again, there's a life after basketball, and that's just something you may want to consider. I think your interest should always play a factor in that. Because yeah, you hoop a lot, and yeah, you play ball, and I think it's more opportunities to practice your craft now than ever before. But there's also more opportunity for you to find interest, to delve into your interests, and to pursue other things. Because if I'm getting paid a ton of money in NIL, I may start taking some courses outside of the university on things that I'm interested in. So I just think the conversation should be different. And I'm not sure a lot of the schools, a lot of universities are having those conversations. I think the conversations that they're having are purely financial, or purely, what can I give you? Can I give you some jewelry? Can I give you a car? And that's all cool, but I might want a career after basketball. I might want a career while I'm playing basketball. Why not think about real estate? Are we talking to these guys about crypto? I mean, there's just so many things. Are we giving them sound financial advice to handle all this money? And again, I don't think it's the onus is on the university, because the university, again, it's pay for play now.
Yeah.
It can't be more transparent. So, someone like myself, again, I've always envisioned myself as um, an opportunist. I've always considered myself like I'm not going to leave any stone unturned. I mean, I was fortunate to play Division I basketball. I mean, I was fortunate to be on two teams that went to the chip game, the national championship game. I was fortunate to have two Olympic tryouts. And I say all those things gratefully and with humility. Um, but how do you take advantage? Did I fully maximize that off the court? And I'm not so sure I did. So those are conversations I will be having with young men now. Like, relationships are important. Like, how you conduct yourself is important. Like, see all of these opportunities, not just like, they're owed to you, but how can you benefit?
Wow, that's fantastic, man. I'm glad you came on my show because I'm gonna show this to a lot of the high schools that I deal with around here, and it could be very beneficial as well. Now, what do you think about as far as what we talked about, as far as the recruiting process is concerned?
I don't know if it's changed much. Again, I think from a coach's standpoint, you got to win now. So,
Mm-hmm.
when I say it hasn't changed much, you're still looking for diamonds in the rough. I think older players now, you're looking for that balance. I look at my alma mater right now. everybody's. I think we only had two guys come back, and it's a brand new team. But that doesn't take the pressure off of Coach Cooley. That doesn't take the pressure off the program. You still got to win. But chemistry, how those things factor in. Um, you know, you got to be more dialed in terms of recruiting, right? You got to be more dialed in terms of pieces that fit. It's almost like a chess game now,
Mhm.
because the average age now, I'm certain has gone up by teams because older players now are part of the equation. Whereas before you could only play 4 years at one university. Now you can bounce all around, and you get a year here, a year there. And you just look at some of the. I mean, Connecticut has been a phenomenon. And when I say
Yes.
phenomenon, when you're on top, you're getting the pick of the litter. If you're Duke, if you're UConn, you always gonna have 5 stars on your team. I think for everybody else, it's a little bit more challenging finding that balance because you want some older players on your roster now. Because I take me a fifth, 6 year senior that can really play, and some
Hmm.
is over a 3 star, 4 star freshman that's just coming in. So I think those are things that have impacted recruiting. And again, who's got the biggest bankroll?
Bingo. Bingo.
So yeah, all of those things are, but I would love, and I say this because again, I would accept the challenge, particularly if I dedicated my career to coaching. I would love the challenge to build a program. Because again, it's not easy as just, you're not just recruiting high school seniors now, right? Yeah, I mean you know, the Band-Aid's been ripped off. So, again, win now. You got to win now, right?
And utilize the transfer portal. Now, before we get back into, because we're going to get back into your Georgetown days, but we're talking about Georgetown. What do you think about their um, team this year? Because I got the roster right here, and they have no seniors at all. They got a graduate student. He goes by the name of Micah Peavy,
Yeah,
and you got a couple of juniors. Most of them are sophomores and freshmen.
yeah. It's an extremely young team. I'm
Yes.
always going to be optimistic about my Hoyas. We've been picked. Georgetown's been picked anywhere from 10th to from the bottom 11 to 9. That's kind of where um,
Okay.
they've been picked to finish, and you know it should be on the chalkboard in the locker room. It should be motivation.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Hoyas have always prided themselves on being a bit chippy as a program goes, right? Like we've been labeled from everything as roughhouse, Hoya paranoia, thugs, whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
And in today's game, that's a positive, right? That's not a negative. Um,
Right.
so I would love to see us take that ranking as motivation. We're extremely young. We return Jay Epps. He's slated to be, or he's been predicted to be third team All Big East. We picked up another point guard from Harvard. He was Ivy League Rookie of the Year, Malik Mack. So we have a nice backcourt. Drew Fielder's a sophomore, um, a big. Thomas Sorber is an incoming freshman. I think he was top 50 in the country. All those rankings kind of get thrown out the window when you're not 1 through 5, right? 1 through 5 are almost like guarantees. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I mean, we've got a lot to prove. Cooley is in his second year, but you know, nobody's feeling sorry for him, and he's certainly not sorry for himself. I
No.
think he's assumed the mantle, assumed the position, and he's expecting to win.
Mm-hmm.
I think we won game. I don't know how many games we won last year, uh, but I know we didn't win more than 6 or 7 in the Big East. So you know that's unacceptable. I'm sure that's unacceptable to him. So I'm optimistic. I'm on record. I want to see him make the tournament this year. And that's lofty considering where we can come from last year. So, but that's what I think of the program.
Do you think that that's a tough question to ask you because I was thinking about he left a very good situation at Providence College, and then he went to Georgetown. Now, do you think he for the challenge, or do you think he did it because when he went to Providence, as you may or may not know, he said he was going to stay there. That was going to be his only coaching position, and then he went on to Georgetown. And the people in Providence are obviously not that thrilled, but he got to do what he's got to do the best for him and his family.
They're still trolling that guy. Not that thrilled.
I'm being nice, King. I'm being nice. I'm being nice. I'm being nice.
They're not happy in the least. I will say this, and I can only go by what Coach Cooley says, and I can go by what he does. He is on record as saying Georgetown will be his last college job. Mm-hmm. Right? He's on record. I take his word. His efforts have been tireless. He's all over the place. The roster's completely overhauled. We have some DC kids on the team, which I always think is important. So I can only go by, how he improves. Again, each year you're looking for improvement, and I'm sure he's challenged himself. It might have been easier for him to stay at Providence than to take the Georgetown job. So I just think on that alone, I want to take him at his word, and I'm also going to take him at his effort, and his effort has been tireless. So he certainly could have stayed comfy and rocked out at Providence, but he took the Georgetown job because that's the job he wanted, and he's given countless reasons why. I'm just excited about. It's been the Thompson era for so long.
Yes.
His son JT3 did a great job. Took the Hoyas to the Final Four in 2007. Patrick gave it everything he had. Wasn't successful from a record standpoint. But again, he kept the university as it relates to college basketball in the air. Like the brand was still relevant. And now we're in the Coach Cooley era. And, regardless of what anyone says, I mean, he's stepping into big footsteps, good, bad, or indifferent. Like, regardless of what Patrick's record was, it's still a coveted position. And, I have faith in the guy. I have faith in the program. And like I said, I think he's done the things last season and this season. We look for improvement. And it's all about the G, and the G is still strong.
Okay. Now, can we talk about the G back in the day? That's I want to go. You know what I mean? I want to go.
Conn Man, is the G back in the day, and is it still relevant? I mean, it's. Look, man, I look at the game today. I watched I caught the Georgetown Syracuse game in the Garden, the Big East tournament final, and that was 1984. And the game was so much different. I mean, we didn't even have the 3-point line. Slower. I mean, I look at our team. And our team, from one to 10, we were deep. Like, we were ready to go. We were an anomaly because we had a black head coach at the PWI, and that was still a big deal back then. I mean, Conn Man, if we can be candid, there hasn't been a black coach that demanded that much attention since Big John, that commanded that much respect since Big John. I mean, he kicked in the door for all these cats today, And again, I'm not saying Shaka isn't doing his thing. Shaka's doing his. I love me some Shaka Smart.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying Cooley's not doing his thing, but if you ask all these guys about Big John, they have nothing but respect, at least on the record. So when you talk about the Georgetown teams, you have to talk about Big John and the way he carried it back then. And we were outcasts. We were even considered outcasts in the Big East.
Now, me ask you a question because I
Yeah,
watched the.
you keep
Uh,
getting me. You got to cut me off.
I'm sorry, but I'm so pumped up, man. You got me all pumped up, man. I'm sorry. I apologize. I was watching a documentary on how the Big East was formed.
Mhm.
They have it in the whole 9 yards. And I don't know if you was on this specific team, but Coach Thompson got so upset that he had the whole team walk off. Was you part of that team?
So, I mean, not that Coach made it a habit, but we were playing Villanova in the Palestria, and I think it
Yeah.
was my junior year. And Villanova had their student body had signs um, in the audience of signs in the stands. Patrick can't read. They had actual gorilla,
Oh,
stuffed gorilla with a noose around its neck. Right. And again, this is 1983. And Big John, instructed us. I mean, in his demonstrative way, off the court. That shit. Excuse my language. That has to come
go
down.
ahead. Go ahead. Okay.
Yeah, I'm being polite. that
Hey,
has to come down, and I'm not sure it came down, but he made this point. Um, I recall him being extremely upset that Villanova they were all there. No one took the action to
yes,
that situation. So that was 83, 84. And then you fast forward, he walked off the court for Proposition 48, which he felt was unfair to you know black athletes. Um, so yeah, he was not beyond um, demonstrating at the point of contact. Like he wasn't the type to protest later. He was going to take care of it right then and there. So that's one time I remember um, specifically where he made the point to take us off the court. But yeah, I'm sure. And again, he was doing this when nobody else was. So yeah, he was laying it all out there. I mean, I'll even go back further. He took the job at Georgetown in 72, 73. And it was either that season or the season right after where there was a sign hung in McDonough Gym, which is our on-campus gymnasium. Um, N-word must go. And, it was a big deal at the time, and he brought it to everyone's attention. Um, but yeah, he was not one to walk away from controversy. And
mhm,
he wasn't one to walk away from things that he felt were unfair, or things that he felt were unwarranted, or racism, or things that I think we still talk about today, which is just the world we live in. It's America. But yeah, him protesting was front and center. I mean, he made sure we were aware, uh, from a society standpoint, where we stood, which is why we wore coat and ties on the road, which is why we wore coat and ties all the time. Like he wanted us to be professional, which is why we weren't media darlings, because he didn't believe in fraternizing with the press just to have them write something positive about you. So yeah, I mean, I learned a lot as a young man, as a young black being around.
especially yeah, especially being the only black head coach in the Big East at that time with all black team. So you guys had to go through some horrific situations. I don't know how you guys. I don't know how you guys handle it, man. I don't know.
He always made it interesting, and I don't know the exact quote, but the original Big East coaches, it was a melting pot. You had Massimino, Carnesecca, you know,
Yeah.
it was like Big John was a black Italian. But again, he didn't shy away from it. And how could he? He was 6'10".
Right.
He was 6'10" with the mouthpiece. He was an
Mhm.
incredible orator, right? And he was clever. And a lot of his jokes weren't taken as jokes. Um, but I recall being at a press conference once, and I made an analogy to going to war. And he looked over at me and says, "I think you might want to change that. The press may take it the wrong way." And I went, "Okay." I made the chess analogy. So I mean, but the fact that he made me aware of it, what I mean, just prepared me more for as a young man, and because I wasn't planning on going to the NBA, even though I got drafted. And again, I say that because that's not why I went to Georgetown. Um, but again, that was back when they had 8 rounds. But it helped in preparing me, and helped in preparing all of us for life after basketball.
And what Coach Thompson did is he set the standard because Michigan followed. You know what I mean? Michigan followed that same about the black head coach, but the standard of having 5 black players starting on the team. So I mean, he made an incredible impact on me, and your whole team made an impact on me.
Let me ask you a question, because you
Oh,
mentioned, and I think when you mention the Fab Five, you have to mention UNLV as well.
yes, absolutely.
Because again, I think um, those programs meant so much more to the culture, right? The black culture. They meant so much more than just college basketball, right? Um, they were standard bearers, right? The merchandise, um, the way young kids thought about those programs. I mean, it's been said many times that people thought Georgetown was an HBCU.
Hmm.
Um, so, but you got to ask yourself, Michigan, they've received, ESPN 30 for 30, or whether it's a Netflix special or HBO special. Same thing with UNLV, but we've never seen a Georgetown 30 for 30. Were we just precursors? Were we before our time? Or was Big John just that much not willing to play the game, not willing to be amenable? Um,
Right.
and he was downright, um, like, he was not bending. Like, if if we were expected to be at a press conference for 30 minutes, best believe, Conn Man, we were there 29 minutes and 59 seconds, and we was out. I mean, and again, this goes to Coach Thompson wanting to control the narrative, but rightly so, right? Because I mean, if you go back and look at the things that were being written about us, they
Ooh,
were favorable by any standards. But when you get right down to it, we went to Final Four in '82, Final Four in '84, Final Four in '85. And I say this to you: if we win, if we go back to back in '84, '85, or if we win '82 and we win '84, I think the story is different. I think more people would know about Georgetown, or more people would have known about Georgetown, or more people would have been given the opportunity to appreciate that storyline. I mean, because now, I mean, we put guys in the pros, but what was going on in college basketball at that time, it was, there was a reason why Chuck D, Georgetown was his favorite team. It was a reason. It was a reason why, DC embraced us the way they embraced us. Like, dude, we were straight up in Reaganomics. Like we were literally kicking in the door. And I feel like the '82 game, there was Mike Jordan before the game. Then after the game was Michael Jordan. So we lost MJ. I feel like we had Dikembe and Alonzo in that game against Duke in 1990, and Duke was an Adidas school, but they beat us that year. Next thing you know, they're a Nike school. So I feel like we launched Duke.
Ooh.
I mean, I say all these things because I just think we were the bad boys, right? We were that team that Ed Pinckney said, "Yo, in the summertime, when I was on my time, I rocked Georgetown."
Right.
Right.
I remember.
And these aren't things that I'm just saying or making up. I just think, and let me be clear. None of us were aware of it at the time, and probably
Right.
to this day, like have fully comprehended what we meant um, to people, Black America in particular, the culture in particular, what we meant. Because when you're up in it, I followed you and I've seen some of the people that you've are friends with or embraced or part of your history. And you probably didn't know how important you were to those people, or how important you were to the sport, or how important you were to friends and family, all the people you've touched at the time when you're in it. You don't necessarily get your flowers while when you're doing what you're doing. You get your flowers much later. So I don't think the program has gotten its flowers.
And Gene, I'm gonna tell you something, right? I claimed I'm the basketball historian, and I thought I was until the great Sam Jones came on my show, and being the named head coach in 1967 by Red Auerbach, all black team. And let me tell you, Sam Jones had me in tears. Anybody can read a book, anybody can read stats, but when you live in it, like that's why I want you on my show so much, because you lived it. I can read it. That doesn't come as important as when you are there and experienced it. The things Sam Jones taught me put me in place. You know what I mean? And he had me in tears, man. And the next day, for him to call me on my birthday was amazing. But that's kind of why I do what I do. That's why I had Tony Bruin on. That's why I had your teammate Reggie Williams on. Reggie Williams on. So that's why I want to keep that memory alive. I don't want people to forget what you all went through, because without you guys, you set the tone for us, the future people, and a lot of them probably don't know or probably don't care. But as long as I'm around, I'm gonna make sure that what you guys done and all the people in the past have done is not gonna go unnoticed. So that's me. Anyway.
Appreciate you, Kyle. We appreciate your work. And like I said, I follow you now, and just to see the amount of people that you've touched and that have touched you and blessed you, it's a who's who. It's a who's who. So that speaks to your body of work. That speaks to your journey, and we can't thank you enough.
Wow, thank you. Well, Gene, I'm honored to have you come on my show. Is there anything that I could have asked you, or maybe I should have asked you, or anything you want to impart to the viewers? If they want to get in touch with you in any way, shape, or form, because you speak some great knowledge, and I think a lot of the youth are going to be able to heed what you say and do the right thing. And I think it's very important what you said. because you talk facts and we're not just talking sports. No, we're talking about life.
Yeah.
Life after basketball. And like you said, how to brand yourself and things. I never thought of that when I was playing. I never thought of that. Now, what you're doing, by what you're saying, a lot of these people now are going to food for thought. They're going to think about it now. And I appreciate you doing this for me, man.
Yeah, for me, it's like, don't think that the school is going to do it for your kid. And don't think, because again, with social media, it's so easy to just reach out to people and ask questions. So for me, Hoya Locker Room is my platform. Easiest, I'm on IG, I'm on X or Twitter. Easy that I'm on Facebook. Um, the parents should be reaching out. The kids, again, when you're balling and you're hooping, you're all about your craft and you already have enough people around you. And there's good and bad to that. Because if the people around you aren't added value, the people around you don't have interests and dreams that you can help them with. You know what I mean? Because again, sometimes you're only as good as your team. Often.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're just the guy you got your entourage and you're taking care of everybody, that shit's gonna get old.
Yes.
So I challenge the parents. I challenge people that are around you. Um, everybody has something to add. Um, whether it's fashion, again, whether it's social things that you're interested in, whether it's mentoring other kids. It's just so many things that are available to you now. And if you're interested in a bag can be a part of that equation. But this shouldn't be the driving or motivating force. The bag will come later if you set yourself up in a proper way. So for me, it's like I'm talking to the parents a lot of the time.
Right.
Like, what are you doing for your kid other than say, I'm gonna give them the best agent? You know what I mean? Or if your kid is spending X amount of hours in the gym, cool. X amount of hours doing schoolwork, cool. A lot of stuff is being done online now. You don't even have to leave your crib
Right.
to reach out to people. And it's like, does your kid know what LinkedIn is? Does your kid have a LinkedIn? LinkedIn is a business version of Facebook, and it's a chance to mix and mingle with professionals. If you are involved in branding or working with a shoe company, how are you challenging that shoe company to represent you in a way that you control that narrative? You control the story. Nobody can tell your story better than you.
True.
The game has changed. So, you know, you shouldn't expect a brand to do all the heavy lifting. I would suggest to you when you go to a brand, you come to a brand with your own ideas. Look at what Jaylen Brown is doing now.
Right.
So I think the examples are there, but again, it could be right there in front of you. And if nobody tells you to click on this, you don't click on it. So, if I want to leave you or your audience with anything, reach out to people in your circle and outside of your circle that can give you some ideas of how to move. Because if you're just moving the same way that they moved 10 years ago or 20 years ago, change is inevitable. Like it's just too many ways to maximize the process now. And I'm not sure a lot of these kids are, particularly the top kids, because the top kids is like, okay, everybody's bringing you something because they want to be a part of your team because they're gonna get paid off you.
Right.
Well, I'm saying to you, I forget the guy who it was. It eludes me right now, but he didn't even have an agent. Oh, he had Johnny Cochran as an agent, and he paid Johnny Cochran about an hour just to do his contract, and he handled everything else after that.
Mm-hmm.
Again, these examples are there, but if you just take the lazy route where you're going to pay somebody 10% off the top just because they handled Michael Jordan's contract or somebody else's contract,
Mm-hmm.
that's just a lazy way to go about it. Or because your coach recommended this guy to you, or it's just too many other ways to go about it, and particularly in the world we live in today, where again, there, there are just other ways to go about doing business, and I just think there are too many opportunities to reach out to people and find different ways to do business. That's all I would leave you and your audience with comment.
Well, Captain, I want to thank you for coming on my show, taking the time out of your busy schedule. So, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. I think this show is going to be seen on Roku TV tomorrow at 5 o'clock, so we can get a wider audience. And I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for coming on my show. I love you, my brother, man. Take care. God bless. Thank you, man.
Appreciate
Thank you.
Conn Man, you're the best. You're the best, baby.
Thank you, my man.
Be well.
Folks, I want to thank my man, Captain Gene Smith, captain of the Georgetown Hoyas. And I wanted him to come on and talk about his exploits. But the type of person he is, he was thinking about now and how it relates to now. And it was a great learning experience for me. And he gave some great knowledge. I hope people tune in and reflect and think about it. I hope coaches, whoever tuning in, show this to your players. Show this to your players. Let them know. Show them to the parents. Let them know. A lot of kids don't have direction. A lot of them don't. And I think what Gene had just stated was a very valuable lesson for all of us. And even though I'm involved with a whole bunch of kids every year, I'm not in the recruiting phase. I'm not a coach anymore. Well, I'm a referee, to be honest with you. But I'm still part of the game. And now that the information he gave me, I'm going to pass it forward to others. And hopefully the people who view this show will learn and pass it on as well. Because, I feel I'm blessed to have the network that I have to be able to bring you guys this show, because I want, as you guys know me by now, I want my shows to make an impact. And this one definitely made an impact. Gene Smith, like he said, if you read his story, he was basically a walk-on, and he was recruited to be basically come off the bench. And then he became one of the renowned defensive players ever in Big East history, and to win a chip, and the team that he had, the great Pat Ewing and Reggie Williams, and we can go on, the list goes on, Wingate, we can go on. What a tremendous team that was. And it was an honor for me, because I reached out to Gene before. He came on my show twice before and didn't know me from a hole in the wall, and I didn't really know him. But I wanted to bring up the Big East aspects, and I got Tony Bruin who came on my show, Reggie Williams came on my show, and I'm looking forward to getting a few more. I got a few more guests lined up. Hopefully they'll come on as well. But I just want you guys to know I'm trying to bring the best that I can with the contacts that I have. And if y'all want to reach out to me, you want to come on, you got something to say, hit me up. You already know where I'm at. Hit me up, Sports Wave Network, the Conn Man, and we can do the damn thing. Again, I want to thank Key Williams, because usually my shows are at 5 o'clock, but I try to accommodate as many people as I can, because I really felt that he would make an impact, and he sure has. And folks, whoever tuning in tonight, my guest was supposed to be Scott Pemberton, but there is a thing called the World Series on tonight at 7:30, I think it is. But don't worry, my man Scott Sandman Pemberton will be on tomorrow live at 4 p.m. My man, IBU world champion boxer. My man is no joke. And I try to diversify. I try to get some entertainment, some sports, boxing, but hey. And I got my NBA special coming on. Well, not special. I want it to come be a weekly thing. And then we're going to be doing something with me, Kuma Kane, and Coach Dante. And the boss, Key Williams, better come in here too as well. So anyway, I want to thank you guys for tuning in this afternoon. This will be on Roku TV tomorrow at 5 o'clock. Again, I want to thank you guys for tuning in, supporting me, supporting the network. We have a whole bunch of gear out there. You guys tune in, look it up. We have some gear, not just my gear, but we got gear from 7200, We got Cool McCain's gear. We got courtside. We got a whole bunch of gear out there too. You know what I mean? So it'd be a great thing if y'all could support us. We got a great on the network now, Mr. Gotta call him Jake Silver. We got to thank him as well. So anyway, guys, I'm about to head on out. I got some things to do, but I want to thank you guys for tuning in, and tune in tomorrow, 4 o'clock live, as my guest will be former IBU champion Scott Sandman Pendleton. Bad boy. We're going to talk about his career. We're going to talk about the ups and downs and any regrets he has, and we're going to talk about the boxing world, and it's going to be good. The show's getting. I kind of like what I do. As you can tell, I like what I do. So, again, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Please tune in tomorrow at 4 o'clock, as my guest will be Scott Sandman Pendleton. And then next week, next Friday, we got the OG from Chicago, my man John Reeves. That's going to be something right there. 2 OGs going at it. Oh, Lord have mercy. All right, enough is enough. Y'all, thank you for tuning in. Take care. God bless. Be good, y'all.
To get National Streaming Sports on Roku TV, channel search National Streaming Sports, tap on our logo. On laptop, tablet, or mobile phone, download the free Roku app, channel search, tap on our logo. For smart TV, order the Roku device from the Roku store, hook it up to your TV, channel search National Streaming Sports, and tap on the logo.